Woman gives $30 to homeless girl. 12 years later, a millionaire shows up at her door. The reason why will leave you speechless. In the bustling heart of New York City, where skyscrapers touched the clouds and dreams often got lost in the shadows of ambition, lived Sarah Thompson. At 35, Sarah was a social worker with a heart of gold and a spirit that refused to be dampened by the often harsh realities of city life. Her small apartment in Brooklyn was a testament to her modest lifestyle, filled with books on psychology and social justice, and adorned with vibrant artwork from local street artists. Sarah's path to social work hadn't been straightforward. Born to affluent parents in Connecticut, she had initially pursued a career in finance, drawn by the allure of Wall Street. However, a volunteer experience at a homeless shelter during her college years had planted a seed of compassion that eventually blossomed into a career change. Despite her parents' disapproval, Sarah had left her lucrative job at 28 to pursue a master's in social work, driven by an unshakable desire to make a tangible difference in people's lives. Now, 7 years into her new career, Sarah found fulfillment in her work at a community center in one of the city's most underprivileged neighborhoods. Her days were filled with challenges, heartbreaks, and small victories that kept her going. She had a particular soft spot for the homeless youth she encountered, seeing in each of them the potential for greatness if only given the right opportunities. Sarah's personal life was a reflection of her professional one, rich in meaningful connections but lacking in material excess. She had a small circle of close friends, mostly fellow social workers and artists, who shared her passion for social justice. Romantic relationships had taken a backseat to her career, though she remained open to the possibility of finding a partner who shared her values. Despite the often heavy nature of her work, Sarah maintained an optimistic outlook on life. She firmly believed in the power of small acts of kindness to create ripple effects of positive change. This belief wasn't just a professional mantra. It was a personal philosophy that guided her actions both in and out of work. As Sarah navigated the complexities of her chosen path, she remained unaware that one such small act of kindness was about to set in motion a chain of events that would not only change her life, but challenge her beliefs about the nature of generosity and success. Little did she know that on a seemingly ordinary day, an encounter on the streets of New York would plant the seeds of a story that would unfold over more than a decade, culminating in a surprise that would leave her questioning everything she thought she knew about the impact of her work. It was a crisp autumn morning when Sarah's life took an unexpected turn. The air was tinged with the scent of fallen leaves and distant possibilities as she made her way to work, her mind already racing with the day's upcoming challenges. As she navigated the busy sidewalks, weaving through the sea of commuters lost in their own worlds, something caught her eye. Huddled in the alcove of a closed storefront was a young girl, no more than 14 or 15 years old. The girl's clothes were worn and dirty, her thin frame shivering slightly in the cool morning air. What struck Sarah most, however, were the girl's eyes, bright and alert, yet filled with a weariness that seemed far beyond her years. Sarah's steps slowed as she approached the girl. Years of experience had taught her to be cautious in these situations, but something about this young soul called out to her. "Hi there," Sarah said gently, crouching down to the girl's eye level. "I'm Sarah. Are you okay?" The girl's eyes darted up, a mix of wariness and hope flickering across her face. "I'm fine," she mumbled, her voice barely audible above the city's din. Sarah nodded, not pushing further. "It's a bit chilly out here. Have you had anything to eat today?" A slight shake of the head was the only response. "Would you like to get some breakfast? There's a diner just around the corner," Sarah offered, her voice warm and free of judgment. For a moment, the girl seemed to consider refusing, but then her stomach growled audibly, making the decision for her. With a small nod, she slowly stood up, revealing just how petite she was. As they walked to the diner, Sarah learned that the girl's name was Lily. She didn't offer much more information, and Sarah didn't pry, knowing that trust took time to build. At the diner, Lily ordered pancakes, her eyes widening slightly at the generous portion placed before her. While Lily ate, Sarah gently probed about her situation, her trained ear picking up on the things left unsaid. It became clear that Lily had run away from an abusive home situation and had been on the streets for several weeks. "Lily," Sarah said softly as the girl finished her meal, "I work at a community center not far from here. We have programs that might be able to help you. A safe place to stay, some new clothes, maybe even help with school if you're interested." Lily's fork clattered to the plate, her body tensing. "I don't need help," she said sharply, fear evident in her voice. "I can take care of myself." Sarah recognized the defense mechanism for what it was, a scared child trying to protect herself in a world that had given her little reason to trust. She decided not to push further, at least not today. "I understand," Sarah replied calmly, "but if you ever change your mind, here's the address of the center." She scribbled the information on a napkin along with her name and work number. As they prepared to leave the diner, Sarah reached into her wallet. She had intended to just leave her card, but a sudden impulse struck her. She pulled out a $20 bill and a $10 bill, nearly all the cash she had on her. "Here," she said, pressing the money into Lily's hand. "I know it's not much, but maybe it can help a little." Lily stared at the money, then at Sarah, confusion and suspicion warring in her expression. "Why?" she asked simply. Sarah smiled softly. "Because everyone deserves a little kindness, Lily. No strings attached. Just promise me you'll remember that there are people who want to help, okay?" For the first time, a genuine smile flickered across Lily's face. She nodded, clutching the money and the napkin with the center's address. As they parted ways outside the diner, Sarah watched Lily disappear into the crowd, a mixture of hope and worry settling in her chest. She knew she had done what she could for now, but she couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was somehow significant. Little did Sarah know that this simple act of kindness, a warm meal and $30 given freely to a stranger, would set in motion a series of events that would ripple through time, eventually coming full circle in a way she could never have imagined. As Sarah finally turned and hurried to work, already late for her first appointment, she sent a silent wish into the universe for Lily's safety and well-being. The memory of the girl's bright, wary eyes would stay with her for years to come, a reminder of why she had chosen this path in life. Weeks turned into months, and months into years. Sarah's encounter with Lily became a bittersweet memory, one that she often reflected on during challenging times in her career. Despite her hopes, Lily never showed up at the community center, and Sarah was left to wonder about the young girl's fate. 5 years after that fateful morning, Sarah's work brought her to a conference on youth homelessness in Chicago. As she sat in a packed auditorium, listening to various speakers share their experiences and strategies, a young woman took the stage. There was something hauntingly familiar about her, but Sarah couldn't quite place it. The speaker began her talk, her voice strong and confident. "My name is Lily Chen, and 12 years ago I was a homeless teenager on the streets of New York City." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Could it be? As Lily shared her story, the pieces fell into place. She spoke of her abusive past, her time on the streets, and the turning point that set her on a different path. Sarah listened, her heart racing, as Lily described a chance encounter with a kind stranger who bought her breakfast and gave her $30. That $30 was more than just money, Lily said, her voice thick with emotion. It was hope. It was a reminder that there were good people in the world, people who cared without expecting anything in return. That act of kindness gave me the courage to seek help, to believe that I deserved better. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she realized the impact of her simple gesture. Lily went on to describe how she'd eventually found her way to a youth shelter, finished high school, and was now pursuing a degree in social work while advocating for homeless youth. As the talk concluded and the audience applauded, Sarah sat in stunned silence. She had always believed in the power of small acts of kindness, but to see such concrete proof of its impact was overwhelming. She debated whether to approach Lily, to reveal herself as the stranger from that day, but something held her back. This was Lily's moment, her triumph, and Sarah didn't want to intrude. Instead, she slipped out of the auditorium, her mind whirling with the implications of what she had just learned. The revelation that her small act of kindness had potentially changed the course of Lily's life filled her with a renewed sense of purpose and validation. As she walked back to her hotel, Sarah's phone buzzed with a notification. It was an email from her supervisor back in New York, informing her of budget cuts that would significantly impact their community programs. The timing of this news, juxtaposed with Lily's inspiring story, struck Sarah as both ironic and challenging. She realized that while individual acts of kindness were powerful, they weren't enough to address the systemic issues that led to youth homelessness. The revelation of Lily's success story and the sobering reality of the budget cuts created a conflict within Sarah. How could she reconcile her belief in the power of personal interactions with the need for broader systemic change? As she lay in her hotel bed that night, Sarah knew that this discovery would change the way she approached her work. The image of Lily on that stage, strong and successful, would serve as both an inspiration and a challenge. It was a reminder of the potential impact of her work, but also of the countless other Lilies who might slip through the cracks without proper support systems in place. Little did Sarah know that this revelation was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge her beliefs, test her resolve, and ultimately lead her to a most unexpected encounter. The revelation of Lily's success story ignited a fire within Sarah. Upon returning to New York, she threw herself into her work with renewed vigor, determined to create more opportunities for transformation in the lives of the youth she served. However, the looming budget cuts cast a shadow over her enthusiasm, presenting a formidable challenge. After nights of contemplation and days of impassioned discussions with colleagues, Sarah made a bold decision. She would launch a grassroots campaign to not only fight the budget cuts, but to expand their programs. Her plan was ambitious: to create a comprehensive support system for homeless youth, including education, job training, mental health services, and long-term housing assistance. Sarah's decision was met with mixed reactions. Her supervisor, while supportive of the idea, warned her of the immense challenge ahead. Some colleagues were inspired by her vision, while others were skeptical, viewing it as an idealistic pipe dream. Undeterred, Sarah pressed forward, fueled by the memory of Lily's transformation and the potential to help many more like her. The consequences of Sarah's decision began to manifest quickly. Her workload doubled, then tripled, as she balanced her regular duties with the demands of her new initiative. Early mornings and late nights became the norm as she drafted proposals, reached out to potential donors, and rallied community support. The campaign started small, with local fundraisers and community meetings. Sarah shared Lily's story, without using her name, at every opportunity, illustrating the potential impact of their work. Slowly but surely, her passion began to inspire others. Local businesses started to take notice, offering donations and support. A few smaller grants trickled in, providing a glimmer of hope. However, the path was far from smooth. For every step forward, there seemed to be 2 steps back. The larger foundations she approached were hesitant to commit, citing the economic downturn as a reason for caution. City officials, while sympathetic to the cause, were constrained by tight budgets and competing priorities. The stress began to take its toll on Sarah. Her health suffered as she skipped meals and lost sleep. Her few remaining personal relationships became strained as she canceled plans and missed important events. There were moments of doubt when she questioned whether she had taken on too much, whether her decision had been reckless rather than brave. 6 months into her campaign, Sarah faced a critical juncture. The initial enthusiasm had waned, and the reality of the long, uphill battle ahead was setting in. The budget cuts she had initially fought against had been implemented, forcing the center to scale back some of its existing programs. The weight of responsibility for the youth who would be affected pressed heavily on her shoulders. It was during this low point that Sarah received an unexpected call. A representative from a major charitable foundation had heard about her campaign and was interested in learning more. They scheduled a meeting for the following week, offering a glimmer of hope in what had become an increasingly challenging situation. Sarah poured her heart and soul into preparing for the meeting. She gathered statistics, prepared impact reports, and even reached out to some of the youth who had successfully gone through their programs for testimonials. The night before the meeting, she rehearsed her presentation repeatedly, knowing that this could be the breakthrough she had been working towards. The meeting itself was a blur of nervous energy and passionate advocacy. Sarah spoke about the need for comprehensive support for homeless youth, painting a vivid picture of the lives that could be transformed. She shared anonymous stories of success, including a version of Lily's story, to illustrate the long-term impact of their work. As the meeting concluded, the foundation representatives thanked her for her time, but made no promises. They explained that they received many worthy proposals and would need time to review and discuss. Sarah left the meeting feeling simultaneously drained and hopeful, unsure of what to expect. Weeks passed without word from the foundation. Sarah tried to remain optimistic, but doubt began to creep in. Had she pinned too many hopes on this one opportunity? Had her decision to pursue this campaign been a mistake? Just as she was beginning to lose hope, Sarah received another call from the foundation. They were impressed by her proposal and wanted to offer a substantial grant to support her initiative. The amount they quoted was beyond anything Sarah had dared to hope for, enough to not only prevent the budget cuts, but to significantly expand their programs. The news was met with jubilation at the community center. Sarah's colleagues, even those who had been skeptical, rallied around her, energized by the possibilities this grant opened up. Plans were quickly set in motion to implement the expanded programs Sarah had envisioned. As the initial excitement settled, Sarah found herself grappling with a new set of challenges. The grant came with high expectations and rigorous reporting requirements. She now faced the daunting task of turning her vision into reality, knowing that the lives of countless youth hung in the balance. Sarah's decision had led to a significant victory, but it was clear that this was just the beginning of a new chapter. As she looked ahead to the months and years to come, she felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The path forward would not be easy, but she was more convinced than ever that it was the right one. Little did Sarah know that this grant and the work it would enable were setting the stage for an even more remarkable turn of events in her future. As Sarah immersed herself in implementing the new programs funded by the Foundation's grant, a secondary plot began to unfold, centering around one of the youth at the community center. Marcus, a 17-year-old who had been in and out of the foster care system, had been coming to the center for the past few months. Initially withdrawn and distrustful, he had slowly begun to open up, particularly showing an interest in the center's computer literacy classes. Sarah had taken notice of Marcus's aptitude for technology and had been encouraging him to explore it further. With the new funding, she was able to expand the computer program, bringing in more advanced equipment and offering coding classes. Marcus thrived in this environment, quickly surpassing the basic curriculum. One afternoon, as Sarah was reviewing the progress reports of the various programs, she overheard Marcus engaged in an animated conversation with the computer instructor. Curious, she paused to listen. "I'm telling you, this app idea could be big," Marcus was saying, his usually guarded demeanor replaced by enthusiasm. "It could help kids like us find safe places to stay, access resources, even connect with mentors. It's like a survival guide for street kids, but in your pocket." The instructor nodded, clearly impressed. "That's a brilliant idea, Marcus. Fuck, have you started developing it?" Marcus's excitement faltered slightly. "I've got it all mapped out in my head, but I don't have the tools or know-how to build it yet." Sarah, intrigued by what she had overheard, stepped into the room. "Marcus, that sounds like an amazing concept. Would you be willing to share more about it?" Over the next hour, Marcus outlined his vision for the app. His idea was to create a platform that would provide real-time information about shelters, food banks, and other resources for homeless youth. It would also include a discrete SOS feature for emergencies and a mentorship component to connect users with volunteers who could offer guidance and support. Sarah was astounded by the depth of thought Marcus had put into this. She saw in his idea not just a useful tool, but a reflection of the experiences and needs of the very youth they were trying to serve. "Marcus, I think you might be onto something big here, Sarah said, her mind already racing with possibilities. What if we could actually make this happen? Marcus looked at her skeptically. How? I don't have money for developers or anything. Sarah smiled. Leave that to me. I think I might know some people who'd be very interested in supporting this project. Over the next few weeks, Sarah leveraged her newfound connections from the recent fundraising campaign to gather support for Marcus's app idea. She reached out to tech companies for mentorship and resources and even managed to secure a small grant from a local business incubator. As the project gained momentum, Sarah watched Marcus transform. The sullen, distrustful teen was replaced by a focused, passionate young man with a purpose. He threw himself into learning coding, staying late at the center to work on his project, and eagerly absorbing advice from the volunteer mentors Sarah had arranged. This unexpected development added a new dimension to Sarah's work. She found herself not just providing basic services, but actively fostering innovation and entrepreneurship among the youth she served. Marcus's app project became a model for other initiatives, inspiring more young people at the center to think creatively about solving problems in their community. However, as Marcus's app garnered more attention, it also brought new challenges. Questions of ownership, funding, and long-term sustainability arose. Sarah found herself navigating unfamiliar territory, balancing the need to protect Marcus's interests with the potential for the app to help a wider population. As this secondary plot unfolded, it began to intertwine with the main narrative of Sarah's journey. The success of Marcus's project and the impact it was having on him and other youth at the center served as a powerful testament to the potential of the programs Sarah had fought so hard to fund and expand. Little did Sarah know that this development would play a crucial role in the events yet to come, connecting past, present, and future in ways she could never have anticipated. As the months passed, Sarah's relationship with Marcus deepened and evolved. What had begun as a standard mentor-mentee dynamic transformed into something more profound, challenging both of them in unexpected ways. Sarah found herself increasingly invested in Marcus's success, not just with the app project, but in his overall growth and well-being. She saw in him echoes of Lily, the girl she had helped years ago, and it stirred a maternal instinct she hadn't known she possessed. For Marcus, Sarah became more than just another adult figure in his life. She was the first person who had truly believed in him, who saw beyond his rough exterior to the potential within. This unconditional support both comforted and terrified him as he grappled with the fear of disappointing her. Their bond was tested early on when Marcus, overwhelmed by the pressure of the app development and his own self-doubt, disappeared for 3 days. Sarah was frantic, leveraging every resource at her disposal to find him. When he finally returned, dirty and exhausted, Sarah's relief quickly gave way to anger. "Do you have any idea how worried I was?" she demanded, her voice shaking. "Anything could have happened to you." Marcus, expecting rejection, was taken aback by the depth of Sarah's concern. You were really worried about me?" he asked, his tough facade crumbling. This moment marked a turning point in their relationship. Marcus realized that Sarah's care for him went beyond professional obligation, while Sarah recognized the depth of her emotional investment in Marcus's life. As they worked through this incident, their relationship deepened. Sarah helped Marcus develop coping mechanisms for stress and self-doubt, while Marcus taught Sarah to loosen her grip and trust in his resilience. The app project progressed, bringing with it new challenges and opportunities for growth. Sarah found herself learning alongside Marcus, diving into the world of tech startups and social entrepreneurship. She watched with pride as Marcus presented his idea at local tech meetups, his confidence growing with each pitch. However, their strengthening bond also brought complications. Some of Sarah's colleagues expressed concern that she was becoming too emotionally involved, potentially compromising her professional judgment. Sarah struggled with these criticisms, questioning whether she had crossed an ethical line. The situation came to a head when an opportunity arose for Marcus to attend a prestigious tech internship in Silicon Valley. It was an incredible opportunity, one that could launch his career and take the app to the next level. But it would also mean leaving the safety net of the community center and Sarah's guidance? Sarah found herself torn. Professionally, she knew this was an opportunity Marcus couldn't pass up. Emotionally, the thought of him leaving filled her with anxiety. What if he wasn't ready? What if he faced discrimination or exploitation in the cutthroat tech world? Marcus, sensing Sarah's hesitation, confronted her. "Do you not think I can do this?" he asked, hurt evident in his voice. Sarah realized that her own fears were holding Marcus back. In that moment, she made a conscious decision to put her personal feelings aside and focus on what was best for Marcus's growth. "Of course you can do this," she said firmly. "I'm just going to miss you. But this is your chance to shine, Marcus. You're ready for this." The pride and belief in Sarah's eyes gave Marcus the confidence boost he needed. With her support, he accepted the internship offer. The day Marcus left for Silicon Valley was bittersweet. As they said their goodbyes, both Sarah and Marcus struggled to express the depth of their gratitude and affection for each other. "You saved my life, you know," Marcus said softly. "Not just with the app and this internship. You showed me I was worth something." Sarah pulled him into a fierce hug. "You saved me too, Marcus. You reminded me why I do this work. Promise me you'll call if you need anything, okay?" As she watched Marcus board the plane, Sarah felt a complex mix of emotions: pride, fear, sadness, and hope. She realized that this was the true essence of her work. Not just providing services, but building relationships that transformed lives, including her own. Unknown to Sarah, this experience with Marcus was preparing her for an even more significant relationship that was yet to enter her life, one that would bridge her past and future in an extraordinary way. 12 years had passed since Sarah's fateful encounter with Lily on the streets of New York. The community center had flourished under her leadership, expanding its programs and reaching more youth than ever before. Marcus's app had become a nationwide success, helping countless homeless youth access resources and support. On a crisp autumn morning, eerily similar to the day she had met Lily, Sarah arrived at her modest apartment after a long night at the center. As she fumbled for her keys, lost in thought about the day ahead, she noticed a sleek black car parked across the street. It seemed out of place in her working-class neighborhood. Dismissing it as nothing, Sarah entered her apartment and headed straight for the coffee maker. Just as the comforting aroma of brewing coffee filled the air, her doorbell rang. Puzzled, as she wasn't expecting anyone, Sarah cautiously approached the door and opened it. Standing before her was a woman in her late 20s, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. There was something hauntingly familiar about her face, but Sarah couldn't quite place it. "Sarah Thompson?" the woman asked, her voice carrying a hint of nervousness despite her polished appearance. Sarah nodded, confusion evident on her face. "My name is Lily Chen," the woman said, causing Sarah's eyes to widen in shock. "You might not remember me, but 12 years ago, you bought me breakfast and gave me $30 on the streets of New York." The coffee mug slipped from Sarah's hand, shattering on the floor as the realization hit her. This successful-looking young woman was the same scared girl she had helped all those years ago. "Lily?" Sarah whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Of course I remember you. I saw you speak at a conference years ago, but I didn't want to intrude on your moment." Lily's composure cracked, and tears welled up in her eyes. "I've been looking for you for years," she said. "I never got to thank you properly for what you did for me that day." Sarah ushered Lily inside, both of them stepping carefully around the broken mug and spilled coffee. As they sat on Sarah's worn couch, Lily began to share her story. She spoke of how Sarah's act of kindness had given her the courage to seek help, to believe that she deserved better. She had eventually found her way to a youth shelter, finished high school, and gone on to college on a scholarship. Now, Lily revealed, she was the CEO of a successful tech company that developed solutions for social issues. "Your $30 didn't just feed me for a day," Lily said, her voice thick with emotion. "It fed my soul and gave me hope. I've spent years trying to track you down, to show you what your kindness made possible." As Lily spoke, Sarah felt overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions. Pride in Lily's accomplishments, joy at seeing her thrive, and a profound sense of the impact one small act could have. Then, Lily dropped a bombshell that left Sarah speechless. "I want to donate $10 million to your community center," Lily stated, her eyes shining with purpose. "To help you expand your programs and reach more youth like the girl I once was." Sarah gasped, her mind reeling from the magnitude of Lily's offer. This was more than just a donation. It was a full-circle moment that validated every hardship, every late night, every small act of kindness she had committed over the years. As the reality of the situation sank in, Sarah realized that this moment would change everything. The future she had been working towards was suddenly within reach, brought about by a simple act of kindness from 12 years ago. In that moment, as Sarah looked into Lily's eyes, she saw not just the scared girl from the past or the successful woman of the present, but a reflection of every life she had touched and every life she could still impact. The true weight of her life's work came crashing down upon her, leaving her breathless with the realization of its profound impact. In the days following Lily's unexpected visit and her staggering offer, Sarah found herself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions and ethical dilemmas. The prospect of a $10 million donation was simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying. It held the potential to revolutionize their programs, to help countless youth in ways Sarah had only dreamed of. Yet, it also presented a complex web of challenges that needed to be carefully navigated. Sarah's first instinct was to call an emergency meeting with her board of directors. As she presented Lily's offer, she could see the mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces, mirroring her own internal conflict. "This is an incredible opportunity," said Robert, the board's chairperson, "but we need to consider the implications carefully. A donation of this size will dramatically change the scope and scale of our operations." Marjorie, another board member, voiced her concerns. "We need to be careful that we don't lose sight of our grassroots approach. Sometimes, rapid expansion can lead to a disconnect from the very communities we're trying to serve." The discussion went on for hours, weighing the pros and cons, considering the potential risks and rewards. Sarah found herself in the position of having to balance her personal connection to Lily and the donation with her professional responsibility to the organization. As the meeting concluded, it was clear that while everyone saw the immense potential of the donation, there were significant concerns about how to proceed. The board tasked Sarah with developing a comprehensive plan for how the funds would be used and addressing the potential challenges of such rapid growth. Over the next few weeks, Sarah threw herself into this task. She consulted with other nonprofit leaders who had experience with large-scale expansions, pored over research on effective scaling of social programs, and spent countless hours refining budgets and projections. Throughout this process, Sarah also grappled with her personal feelings about the situation. She couldn't help but feel a sense of validation. Lily's success and her desire to give back seemed to affirm every choice Sarah had made in her career. Yet, she also felt a nagging sense of unease. Was it right to accept such a large sum from someone she had helped? Did it somehow diminish the purity of her initial act of kindness? Sarah decided to meet with Lily again, this time in a more professional capacity. Over coffee in a quiet cafe, she shared her concerns openly. "Lily, I can't express how touched and honored I am by your offer," Sarah began. "But I need to make sure we're approaching this in the right way. This isn't just about you and me anymore. It's about the future of the organization and all the youth we serve." Lily listened intently, her face a mixture of understanding and determination. "I get it, Sarah. That's exactly why I want to do this. Your kindness changed my life, and I want to multiply that impact 1,000-fold." They spent hours discussing the potential uses for the funds, the challenges of scaling, and the importance of staying true to the organization's mission. Sarah was impressed by Lily's thoughtful approach and her genuine desire to make a lasting impact. As their meeting drew to a close, Lily made another suggestion that caught Sarah off guard. "I don't just want to give money," she said. "I want to be involved. What if I joined your board of directors? I could offer my business expertise, my tech knowledge, and my perspective as someone who's been on the other side of your services." Sarah was momentarily speechless. The idea of Lily joining the board added another layer of complexity to an already complicated situation. It would undoubtedly bring valuable skills and perspective to the organization, but it also raised questions about boundaries and potential conflicts of interest. "Let me think about it," Sarah said finally. "It's a generous offer, Lily, but we need to consider all the implications." As Sarah left the cafe, her mind was racing. She knew that the way she handled this situation would define the future of her organization and potentially impact the lives of thousands of young people. The weight of the responsibility was immense. Over the next few days, Sarah engaged in deep reflection and numerous conversations with trusted colleagues and mentors. She revisited the organization's mission statement, thought back to her original motivations for entering this field, and tried to envision the long-term implications of her decisions. Finally, Sarah felt ready to present her recommendations to the board. Her proposal was comprehensive: a phased approach to utilizing the funds, a clear plan for scaling their programs while maintaining their core values, and a set of checks and balances to ensure transparency and accountability. As for Lily's offer to join the board, Sarah suggested a middle ground. She proposed creating an advisory council of individuals with diverse expertise and backgrounds, including former program participants like Lily. This would allow them to benefit from Lily's insights and experiences without the potential complications of her being a major donor and board member simultaneously. As Sarah prepared to present her proposal to the board, she felt a mix of nervousness and determination. She knew that this was more than just a decision about a donation. It was a defining moment that would shape the future of her life's work. Whatever the outcome, Sarah was committed to ensuring that the core mission of helping youth in need remained at the heart of everything they did. Little did Sarah know that the board meeting would take an unexpected turn, leading to a resolution that none of them had anticipated. The board meeting that Sarah had so meticulously prepared for turned out to be a turning point, but not in the way she had expected. As she presented her carefully crafted proposal, she was met with thoughtful nods and probing questions. The atmosphere was tense with the weight of the decision before them. However, as the discussion progressed, an unexpected perspective emerged. It was Marcus, now a successful tech entrepreneur himself, who had been invited to join the meeting virtually to provide insights as a former program participant. "You're thinking too small," Marcus interjected, his voice filled with the confidence he had gained over the years. "This isn't just about expanding what you already do. This is an opportunity to revolutionize how we approach youth homelessness and empowerment." His words sent a ripple through the room. Marcus went on to outline a vision that blended Sarah's grassroots approach with Lily's tech industry experience and his own insights from the world of social entrepreneurship. "What if," he proposed, "instead of just a community center, we created an innovation hub for at-risk youth, a place where they can not only find shelter and support, but also develop skills, incubate ideas, and launch their own social enterprises?" The room fell silent as the implications of Marcus's suggestion sank in. Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation coursing through her. This was a radical departure from what she had envisioned, yet she couldn't deny the potential impact of such an approach. Lily, who had been invited to join the latter part of the meeting, built upon Marcus's idea. "We could create a model that combines direct services with entrepreneurship training and mentorship. It's not just about giving youth a fish or teaching them to fish. It's about empowering them to revolutionize the entire fishing industry." As the discussion evolved, a new vision began to take shape. The board members, initially cautious, became increasingly animated as they explored the possibilities. They talked about partnering with tech companies for apprenticeship programs, creating a venture fund for youth-led startups, and developing a curriculum that blended practical life skills with innovation and business acumen. Sarah listened, her mind racing with the potential and challenges of this new direction. It was a far cry from the traditional social work she had practiced for years. Yet she recognized that it addressed the root causes of youth homelessness and disadvantage in a way her current programs couldn't. As the meeting drew to a close, the board reached a consensus. They would accept Lily's donation, but with a mandate to create this new model of youth empowerment. Sarah was tasked with leading the transition, working closely with Lily, Marcus, and a team of experts to bring this vision to life. Walking out of the boardroom, Sarah felt as though she was standing on the precipice of a new chapter in her life and career. The community center she had nurtured for years would evolve into something far beyond what she had ever imagined. It was exciting, terrifying, and profoundly meaningful all at once. As she looked at Lily and the image of Marcus on the screen, Sarah realized that her journey had come full circle. The young lives she had touched were now shaping the future of her work, creating a legacy that would impact generations to come. This turning point marked not just a new direction for the organization, but a profound shift in Sarah's understanding of her role and the potential of her work. As she stepped into this new future, she felt a renewed sense of purpose and a deep gratitude for the unexpected paths that had led her to this moment. In the months that followed the pivotal board meeting, Sarah found herself on a steep learning curve. The transition from running a traditional community center to spearheading an innovative youth empowerment hub challenged her in ways she never anticipated. There were moments of doubt, late nights poring over business models she was only beginning to understand, and days when the magnitude of the change overwhelmed her. Yet, as the new project took shape, Sarah discovered reserves of adaptability and resilience she didn't know she possessed. She immersed herself in learning about social entrepreneurship, sought mentorship from business leaders, and collaborated closely with Lily and Marcus to bridge the worlds of social work and innovation. One evening, as Sarah sat in her office reviewing the plans for their new facility, she caught her reflection in the window. She barely recognized the woman staring back at her, confident, visionary, and unafraid of venturing into uncharted territory. She realized how far she had come from the idealistic social worker who had once given $30 to a homeless girl. This reflection prompted Sarah to reach out to some of the youth she had helped over the years. Their stories of perseverance and success, much like Lily's and Marcus's, filled her with a profound sense of fulfillment. She saw that her impact hadn't just been in the immediate help she provided, but in the seeds of self-belief and potential she had planted. Sarah's relationship with Lily evolved into a deep friendship and professional partnership. Working together, they challenged each other's perspectives and found a beautiful synergy between Sarah's grassroots experience and Lily's corporate expertise. Sarah marveled at how life had brought them full circle, transforming a fleeting act of kindness into a powerful collaboration for change. Marcus, now a respected advisor to the project, became a source of inspiration for Sarah. His journey from a troubled teen to a successful entrepreneur and mentor reminded her daily of the transformative power of belief and opportunity. His insights kept the project grounded in the real needs and potential of the youth they served. As the launch date for their new Youth Innovation Hub approached, Sarah reflected on her personal growth. She had learned to think bigger, to see beyond immediate needs to long-term empowerment. She had embraced technology and entrepreneurship not as departures from her social work roots, but as powerful tools to enhance her impact. Moreover, Sarah recognized a shift in how she viewed her role. She was no longer just a provider of services, but a catalyst for change, empowering youth to become agents of their own transformation and contributors to society. This realization brought a new depth to her sense of purpose. The journey had also taught Sarah the power of collaboration and the importance of being open to new ideas, even when they challenged her long-held beliefs. She had learned to balance her nurturing instincts with the need to empower others to take risks and learn from failures. On a personal level, Sarah found that her work no longer consumed her entire life. The support system she had built, both professionally and personally, allowed her to find a balance she had long struggled to achieve. She had even begun to explore romantic relationships, no longer feeling that they would detract from her commitment to her work. As she stood on the brink of this new chapter, Sarah felt a profound sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the challenges that had shaped her, for the unexpected turns that had led her here, and for the opportunity to make a difference in a way she had never imagined. The scared girl she had once helped and the troubled boy she had mentored had become her partners in creating a better future. Sarah realized that in trying to change the lives of others, her own life had been transformed in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. On the day of the Youth Innovation Hub's grand opening, Sarah stood before a crowd of supporters, beneficiaries, and media. The sleek, modern building behind her was a far cry from the modest community center where her journey had begun. As she prepared to cut the ribbon, Sarah took a moment to address the gathering. "Years ago, I gave $30 and a meal to a girl on the street," she began, her voice strong with emotion. "I never imagined that such a small act would lead to this moment. But that's the power of kindness. It grows, it inspires, and it transforms." Sarah gestured to Lily and Marcus, who stood proudly beside her. This hub is a testament to the potential that lies within every young person, no matter their circumstances. It's a place where compassion meets innovation, where challenges become opportunities, and where lives will be changed. As the ribbon was cut and applause filled the air, Sarah felt a profound sense of completion and new beginning. The journey that had begun with a simple act of kindness had come full circle, expanding beyond anything she could have imagined. The story of Sarah, Lily, and Marcus reinforced the enduring themes of compassion, resilience, and the far-reaching impact of small actions. It showed that true change comes not just from helping others, but from empowering them to help themselves and their communities. As Sarah watched the first group of young innovators enter the hub, their eyes wide with possibility, she knew that this was more than just a happy ending. It was the beginning of countless new stories of transformation, each one a ripple effect from that fateful day, 12 years ago, when a social worker decided to help a girl in need. In that moment, Sarah understood that the greatest gift we can give is not just assistance, but the belief in someone's potential to rise, thrive, and create positive change in the world.